June 15th of 2010 was a day forever imprinted on Chloe Gallagher and her family. The life of the once go-kart racing teen suddenly came to a halt without a warning.
When I was 15 years old, I came home from school. I was home alone. I was just watching TV, and I had my phone in my hand, and all of a sudden, everything got really blurry, and this pain in my head literally felt like it was going to explode. I tried to get up to go to the kitchen where the phone is, but I couldn't walk, so I crawled. I don't know how I somehow called my dad, and at that point I was just screaming. He called my brother because he was closer, and I remember at that point I could only hear things, I couldn't see anything. My brother I could hear him talking, trying to figure out whether to call an ambulance or take me to the hospital. I remember hearing my dad get in, and they were talking. They ended up just driving me over to Joe Brandt, and it was there they put me in a CT, and they saw the brain bleed, and I was having a hemorrhagic stroke. And since I was 15 at the time, I was pediatrics, so they were on the phone with sick kids and McMaster. I wasn't going to make it to sick kids, so I went to McMaster that night, and I had a decompressive craniectomy, which is basically they remove a piece of your skull to relieve the pressure that the bleed's causing on the brain. And then I was in a coma for a few days. And they pretty much told my parents to expect the worst. But here I am, and that surgery was the first of what I didn't know at the time was going to be over 10.
In the eyes of Chloe's physicians, she's known as a miracle patient. Now, 1/3 of people who have an aneurysm will die on the way to hospital. 1/3 may die in hospital itself, or 1/3 will survive but with major complications. Now, for Chloe, her battle was still far from over, but she's here to tell the tale.
Really, all that I've been left with was I had my first seizure the fall of 2010 and was diagnosed with epilepsy after further seizures, and I have some vision loss on my left side, but otherwise I'm pretty much okay. So I continued to have seizures, and I ended up, after trying many medications, I started looking at surgical treatment options for my epilepsy.
Between 2010 and 11, Chloe faced multiple brain surgeries almost every month, all while also trying to attempt to complete her high school. But she again faced many setbacks, including an infection complication resulting in the loss of part of her skull.
In high school, I had the one infection in November of 2010, and they took my skull out. And then I was on antibiotics through a PICC line for 6 weeks, and I got the new skull in April. So during that period of time, I had a helmet and was rocking a fanny pack with the IV PICC line. So that was awesome, going through the halls of high school. But it was seriously okay.
With the support of friends, family, and her physicians, Chloe was able to get the help she needed and was even moving on to post-secondary education. But sadly, her epilepsy returned and now required more surgeries, including a temporal lobectomy and disconnection.
So this April, I ended up having the surgery for my epilepsy, which ended up being successful. But May, I ended up getting an infection. So this summer I spent the summer without my skull. And I mean, that's the second time I've done that, but it's a pretty weird experience. Thought I was gonna get that back in July, but it's very weird when someone tells you that your skull hasn't made it over the border yet. You call and you say, when's this gonna be? And they say, it still hasn't gone through customs yet. So I ended up having my surgery in August to get my new prosthetic skull. So we joke and we say, finally, I'm all symmetrical again. And since then, things have been pretty good. I haven't had any big seizures. And so overall, things have been pretty successful. with surgery wise and with the epilepsy. And I've just been doing a lot of advocacy work for Epilepsy South Central Ontario and some public speaking for them.
Chloe has now raised over $17,000 for support and research with Epilepsy South Central and hopes to one day continue her studies and become a medical professional. For Halton News, I'm Kristen Demeny.